Hello and welcome to the Kinda Queer Podcast, a podcast hosted by a couple of kinda queer folks. My name is Ryan, I use he, they pronouns, and I'm pansexual, panromantic.
And I am sunny like the weather, and I also use he, they pronouns. And identity. I, at this point, would like to say that I am a trans man, but like in a non-binary way. And that's what we're going to stick with for the next half hour or so. I am very queer. I am also demisexual and demi-romantic. So it's just a fun time up in here.
We're having fun up in here, being queer. That rhymes. I did not plan that. Sometimes good things come. Hello, this is Editor Ryan, jumping in really quick to say that this episode was recorded a decent while ago, and it's only coming out now for reasons that are I just have issues. But number two, also, some of the audio might sound a little weird because we had to record in like a weird space that wasn't great for audio. So I ran it through like an AI like get rid of background noise and echo filter that did a decent job. It like helps some things, but you might notice some like weird little artifacts or like alterations to the audio, so I apologize for that, but please do enjoy this episode. But yes, Sunny here, very talented person, very nice, kind individual. We work together on Orash, and I don't know what you want to do with your life. We'll probably talk about that. But I wouldn't be surprised if I saw you get an Oscar in the future or something. So
that might be a stretch, Ryan.
I don't know. You're pretty good. You're pretty good.
But could the same not be said about the King? If you don't know, Ryan played the King in Orash, and the voice was very fun, and then they proceeded to send the cast videos after they had gotten home.
Because I'm extra.
But they were glorious and wonderful.
You. There are a lot of things that I could start with, and when I was thinking of ways to start this, I was reminded of a brief conversation that we had, and I thought it would be funny. So we talked briefly about how originally you thought you were a lesbian.
Oh God, yeah, I did!
So let's talk about the lesbian to gay, trans, masked, non-binary pipeline.
Oh boy, oh God. Ready? You want everything?
Yeah.
I can condense it.
No, give me everything.
Okay, so...
I want details. I want them juicy little details.
Let's see. Alright, so are you familiar with the Lesbian Master Doc?
Lesbian Master Doc? I am not.
Okay, well, it's like... it's okay. But it's basically like a long list of like... a lot of it's about like... has to do with heteronormativity and people who are assigned female at birth and their experiences with it. But essentially, like, it was kind of a compilation of things. It's like, do you experience this? Do you experience these things? Because these tend to be like experiences that people who identify as lesbian have. It's a very long document, and the first time I read it was at like 1:30 in the morning.
As you usually do, yeah.
And as I do, but like I screenshot. I would like send little tidbits of the text to one of my friends, and then I screenshot all the texts that I related to, and then I looked back on them like a little while ago, and I was like, oh, wait, like where I'm at makes so much more sense, especially when I didn't realize that I was on the demi like aro ace spectrum until like last year, and so let's see, what year is it? 2020. Okay, 2020, quarantine.
Yeah. Good times.
Yeah. One of my neighbors liked me. He asked me to prom. I had 2 guys ask me to prom.
Ooh.
I was friends with both of them. I also said yes to both.
What?
So honestly, COVID canceling prom was kind of a slay.
Sunny.
I'm really bad at saying no.
I was not expecting that.
I'm really bad at saying no.
Fair.
I've gotten better at it, but and that is why I have dated 2 people that I did not like. One of them was for almost 2 years. The other for 5 weeks. The other was more understandable.
Yes.
But oh god. But anyways, both men, if you could call them that. They don't deserve the title, but yeah, I dated them. That was horrible. We got to COVID. I was talking to this one guy, and he was like obsessed with me, low key. He had a crush on me in like 7th grade too. So like history. It turned out to be very transphobic.
Oh, great! Even better.
He like sent me this text. The last text conversation that I had with him was he was like, I got into this argument on TikTok with someone because I don't think that trans women should be able to participate in sports.
Oh.
And like they just got so annoyed that like they stopped responding, so I won that argument. I was like, bitch, did you win or did they just get too tired of you? Because
because the thing is, there comes a point where you cannot win an argument with these people because
you're
they
stupid.
won't. You're
You are
stupid,
literally stupid,
and they will not accept any form of logic. So yeah.
I stopped talking to him after that. I was like, okay, that's cool. And then I was like, oh shit, maybe I'm a lesbian, because the only person that I had liked at that point was my best friend in 9th grade. Her name was Abby, but she was in a relationship, and she's very straight. I love you, Abby, but you are so straight. Oh god, it's okay, it's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I was like, okay, I'm a lesbian. And then I was like,
when was this?
2020.
2020, okay.
And then I was like,
So really quick, did you not question at all before this point? Or was that like your first...
I was identifying as bi before that.
Okay. So yeah, that's fine. We'll get into that later.
Yes, 9th grade, I was like, okay, I'm bi because I have a crush on my friend Abby.
I see.
And fun fact, she still doesn't know that I have a crush on her.
Hey.
And I'm going to send her this podcast. And I'll be like, Abby! And she'll think it's the funniest shit in the world.
Good.
But yeah, so I was bi, and then I was like, okay, never mind, I'm a lesbian. And then I was like, gender?
Gender?
And I was like, gender? Who are you? Why am I here?
Literally a question I had was, what came first, the chicken or the egg?
But
or gender or sexuality.
Yeah. It was definitely sexuality first, and then like as soon as I started identifying as lesbian, I was like, fuck, man. Maybe like, oh god. Yeah, and then I was like, you know what? I did some research. I like researched all the I was like genderqueer, like non-binary, like bigender, like omni, like all these things, pangender. I'm gonna look into everything. I was like, you know what? I think I'm just non-binary. I was like wondering if I was gender fluid for a second. I'm not. That's not a thing. My expression is very fluid, but I'm not. Yeah, so I started identifying as non-binary. I started using they, them pronouns going to my senior year of high school, which was 2 years ago. Okay. And I was like the only out trans person.
So wait, I'm sorry. I know that you're younger than me. So yeah. What was 2020 for you? What year?
So 2020 was
for high school.
The end of my junior year. And the beginning of my senior year.
Got it.
Yeah. So we were going into school, and it was like hybrid. And everyone's like, oh, like, also I was going by a different name, but they were like, oh, like this person uses they, them pronouns now. And like some people were like, oh my god, that's so exciting. And some people were like, okay.
Okay.
Alright, that's cool. I don't have to see you for like 2/3 of the school year anyways.
Yeah.
It was kind of fun. Had a girl have a crush on me specifically because I came out as like non-binary and a lesbian, and she was like, oh my god, another queer person. And then
I mean, relatable.
Confessed to me through one of my best friends. She made him tell me that she liked me, and I was like, well, she can tell me, but like I haven't said a word to her in the last 6 months. I mean, thanks, but no.
Yeah.
And then I came to college, and I was like, yeah, I'm a lesbian. I got my little lesbian flag. I was still like, yeah, solidly in the non-binary zone. Solidly using they, them pronouns. Old name. And then I met Aaron, who's my current partner. And it took 3 months for me to realize that I liked him. The first stage was, fuck, am I actually a lesbian?
Yes.
And I was like, yeah, I am. This is obviously, yeah. Yeah, this is platonic.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. And then, like, I went through, like, so many things. I was like, maybe I just want to be in a queer platonic relationship with him. And I did research into that. And I did research into, like, tertiary attraction, which is, like, the separate, like, from romantic or sexual attraction. And I was like, maybe it's this. And then, like, there was one point, it was a couple, like, months in, and I was just like, I just, like, want to be in a relationship with this person, and that doesn't feel very platonic to me.
You know, sometimes you have to listen to what your mind is actually telling you.
And that's, like, the first time that I've legitimately, like, been like, I want to have a relationship with this person. I didn't think that for Abby because I knew she was straight and she was in a relationship.
Yeah.
This was the first time that I actually thought it. And, like, I had mentioned that if people tell me they like me, I will feel the need to reciprocate.
Yeah.
Because I have so little experience with romantic attraction. I'm just like, oh, that's what you, okay, obviously that's what this is. I mentioned that once, and Aaron, like, remembered that and then didn't say anything, but he liked me from, like, the very beginning, but he was like, fuck, they're a lesbian, this sucks. And then at one point I was like, Aaron, I don't know if I'm a lesbian, like, I think I might be, like, I don't know, like, not a lesbian. And he was like, okay. Like whatever makes you happy, however you feel, like, you know?
Yeah.
And then eventually we started dating because I was like, yeah, I like him. This is not platonic. And then I was like, I don't know what the fuck my sexuality is anymore, but I think it's just queer. So I was like settled on queer. And then there's the layers of like demi because I really like don't experience those things. It takes me a very long time. So that's also fun. And then recently it's been like, why don't we think about gender again now that you're comfortable with your sexuality? And
that's
like,
how it goes. That's how it gets you.
Oh, it's just back and forth. It's like I'm good with my gender, and then it's like nope, sexuality question, and then I'm good with my sexuality again, and then it's like gender time. And now I'm currently in the gender period.
I'm thinking of like eons like of the earth. It's like there was the gender period, the
golden
sexuality
ages,
period,
the gender period.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then I was like, I think I want to start using he pronouns. Well, actually, no. First, I changed my name. First, I changed my name, and I started going by Sunny, and that was fun, and that was great.
Great name.
Thank you. I chose it myself. This is a very cliche response.
Yeah,
but.
no, I liked it.
And yeah, and those they, he pronouns, and now we're on he, they pronouns, and now we're like, am I a dude? Am I a man? Or am I a Muppet? Can I, like, identify as a Muppet? I feel like that's just,
That
like,
would be-
gender.
Yeah, that would be great, honestly. What's your gender? Oh, Muppet?
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, so now I'm like, I'm just, yeah.
You're just here.
I'm a non-binary dude. I'm in a relationship. I've steadily made my relationship more gay.
Which is the way to go.
Aaron
honestly.
was sort of straight. And then he was like, well, obviously I like Sunny, so that's questionable.
Yeah.
And then now Aaron's just like,
Well, because like
shrug.
I feel like that's a thing that a lot of people don't talk about is that like sometimes you're in a relationship with someone or even before then and like you just really like the person for who they are, and at the end of the day it doesn't really matter that much. I mean, it can for some people obviously, but like for some people it's like I don't care as much about like the way you identify. It's more like you're you, and that's what matters.
That's basically where he's at, which is kind of very validating. And he's also like, he's always right at the forefront of like any sort of gender conversation because he's like, all right, like what do we need to do to get you more like as comfortable as you can be? Yeah. And like he's like, sexuality, like, am I the only guy he's ever like been attracted to? Yes. Did it happen like over the course of dating? Yes. But does he still like me? Yeah. Yeah. Like,
I mean, like, I don't know if you've seen them, but I've seen like those videos of like people where like they've been married for like years. Yeah. And then their partner comes out as trans, and they're like, I don't care.
You're literally the same person.
You're the same person.
Like just because you,
It's like up here in the brain area.
Right.
Same person.
And that's I think what kind of got me out of me thinking I was a lesbian too. Was I was like, if I was dating someone and they transitioned, I wouldn't give a shit.
Yeah.
And like even where they start at doesn't bother me. So it's like, okay, then that tells you something, Sonny. Maybe you're just like really fucking queer. It was always something I was like, it was something I was worried about with like a relationship too. I was like, because I know I had a friend once who like her boyfriend told her if she ever like came out as anything besides female, like he'd break up with her.
Ew.
And I was like, drop him. She did,
Yeah,
thankfully.
good. Thank
But
God.
oh god, like I was like, this is like that's a legit thing that like people do, and I'm just like, how? But yeah, like with this it was fine because Aaron's just like
along for the ride.
we were having this conversation. It was me and Aaron and then our friend Honey. And Honey was like, so like, does that even like, would you even have a sexuality? And Aaron was like, I don't know, I'm just Sunny sexual. And I was like, no. I was like, no.
I fucking love that.
So nothing specific, just me, I
Yeah.
guess. And like that's nice because I don't know, like I feel like it's just really nice to have like people just be like, yeah, like I care for you as a human, and like if your gender changes, that doesn't mean like you change.
Yeah.
So I've been L. I haven't
You're
been
collecting
G.
them all.
I'm like on the verge of G, but I'm like I don't know, and I don't really care to find out. I'm just like I'm queer. I would like, I don't know, but I got the B and the T and the Q. I've got everything.
You've got it all.
Oh, my roommate from last year did have the G though. They had literally all of them. I was like, God damn it!
God damn it!
They beat me. You've collected them all.
I find it really interesting because you brought up how like whenever you were like questioning something, you would go and do research about it. May I ask, what did that research look like? Because I know what it looks like for me, and I want to know what it looks like for you.
Okay, but you gotta tell me what it looks like for you. After.
Okay, yeah.
Basically, Google. I love a good Google.
Love a good
and
Google.
And if I can't find like the exact information I want on Google, I will go on TikTok and I will look up and I will find like people talking about stuff. But yeah, mostly just like when I was questioning my gender, it was list of non-binary identities, or like list of non-binary identities, and then like with my gender. Crowdsourcing.
Honestly?
Crowdsourcing.
Yeah, valid.
Just be like find people with like a similar experience as me. Like when Crow, Crow was like, yeah, non-binary man. And I was like, what the fuck? I want that.
Yeah.
So I just took it.
That's why it's so nice talking to other queer people, because you can be like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, my research was pretty much the same.
Did you ever do the Am I Gay quiz?
Oh, of course.
I didn't.
Really?
That was an integral experience, I feel like, of coming out that I missed.
I mean, you can still take it and find out that you are, in fact.
I did take it the other day, and it was like, it was somewhere just in the mix. It was like a chart, and then in opposite corners, it was like female loving, male loving, and then one was, I forget what the other one was, what the other diagonal was, but it was like, yeah. Oh. Basically, like, bisexuality, and then the opposite corner from that was just, like, asexuality. And I was like, the little asexuality in the middle. Yeah. Because I was just like, yeah.
Yeah. No, my research was, because I started questioning my sexuality in, like, middle school, roughly then. Because I was like, you know, that's the point when your, like, hormones are going fucking crazy, and you're like, I don't know what's happening to me, man. I'm fucked up. And so, like, I basically would just, like, I would be like, I'm attracted to men? Question mark? And then I'd be like, Google, am I gay? And, like, so I went back and forth between, like, gay and straight for a lot of times.
Oh, because, like, it has to be one or the other?
Yeah. Yeah. Because, like, I mean, obviously, there's a lot of bad things happening right now for the queer community. But, like, in general, there's a lot more information out there for the queer community in order to, like, help them figure out stuff. But I feel like I didn't really have a lot of that when I was questioning. I was basically just, like, going back and forth because I really didn't want to be gay because I knew that was a bad thing. it's not a bad thing, but you know,
No,
society told me it was.
me in middle school was homophobic.
Yes.
I was like,
oh yeah.
I think my friend was reading one of the Rick Riordan series and was like, oh, like Nico and Will. And I was like, ew. And she was like, son, you can't say that. I was like, what? Like, I've never heard of this. And now look at me.
Yeah, now look at me, yeah. Middle school is the time when, like, you go through your bad phases.
Yeah.
So I kept flipping back and forth. And then I realized, I discovered bisexuality. I was like,
oh my God.
oh my God.
I don't have to pick.
It's about damn time. I was like, okay, well, I'm probably bi then. But I also still am not going to tell anyone that because that's still part of me is gay and that's a bad thing. So very internally homophobic.
Yeah.
And then I saw some article about Miley Cyrus coming out as pan. I was like, that's me. That's fucking me right there. I know that technically bi and pan can be the same thing. But, like, for me, pan just feels more...
Yeah.
It just feels better.
Yeah.
And feels, like, more like everything.
Yeah.
To me, because, like, my brain, neurodivergency is, like, bi, that's two. That's fucking two,
right?
Man. So, like, I don't like how it sounds.
Like, obviously, it's like, it doesn't have to be.
Yes,
but it's, like,
yes.
Yeah,
like, I'm not going to argue with anyone. But also, I'm like, bi just doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
Pan does, however. And then, completely on the side, just happening throughout all of this, is I would just, like, had a general interest in gay and queer people. Like, I would watch YouTube videos of, like, queer people and gay people, and then I would watch, like, videos from trans YouTubers who were, like, documenting their journey of transitioning. And I was like, that's so cool. And I'm like, well, that's so fucking cool that you, like, that's awesome. And I think that at one point connected with me discovering pansexuality. And I was like, and that was like the moment where it clicked in my brain. I was like, any gender.
Yeah.
Any gender. I don't care. And then that was most of high school. I mean, I didn't tell anyone.
It was still top secret information.
I was still top secret until I released the first episode of this. I got into college and I was like, well, now that I hate my body a little bit less, let's think about, like, gender. Because I had, like, this toxic mindset about, like, gender and your body. And so I was like, I don't really feel like I'm just a man.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm more than that. I feel like I'm, like, I would like to be non-binary in some way. So that's when that happened. And then I also started talking to more ace people. And I was like, I'm fucking in there somewhere, man. Because I've never dated anyone. Never been in a relationship. And so, like, this was where, like, the research really was similar between us. I literally went types of aromantic. Like, because I was like, I know I'm not aromantic because I do want a relationship, but I'm not asexual. I'm not, like, just asexual. So I'm like, what are the different fucking kinds? And, like, I definitely, like, bounced around with Demi for a while.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I feel like the only time I've, like, fallen for people is when I was, like, really close to them and I had, like, a good relationship with them already. So I think that kind of has a part to play in it. But then also I discovered autocorysexual. And so it was basically just, like, I'm interested in, like, sexual situations, but, like, if... The way to describe it is, if I were in that situation, I wouldn't be living it as me, if that makes sense. Like, I don't feel like I'm me in that situation. I feel like I'm someone else, like, looking at it from, like, a third person perspective. Huh. It's fucking weird, but, you know, we got there, I guess, maybe.
Damn. Okay. The silence on my part was just me being, like, wide-eyed, like, whoa, I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah. The thing is, I was like, look at all the different sexualities. And then I was like, oh, look at all the genders.
Oh, God.
Look at all the asexualities. Fuck. It was just an evolution.
It's just like, I was just going to say it's like a cake, like a multi-tiered cake.
Yeah.
And you just have to, like... I don't know, tear apart each layer. Just gonna throw it against the wall and see what comes out.
So you first started to think that you were bi.
Yeah.
That was the first time of... So I guess what led you to coming to that conclusion, or at least starting to like question up until that point? Was it your crush, or was it like just kind of like this in the background thing?
Well, so like I did not have crushes growing up. Like I did not.
Yes.
I had the experience of like, oh, who do you like? I'd be like, I don't like anyone. Also, I told my best friend that I was going to marry a woman when I was in first grade. When I was still identifying as a woman.
Yeah.
As a girl at the ripe age of like 6.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I want to marry a girl. Boys are stinky. Well,
I mean...
look where I am now. That's awkward. But yeah, so like I had never really thought about it. Like it was just like back of my mind. I was not interested. I didn't understand. Like I was like, how do you people like people? Like you just like pick a like is it just like spin around and like point at someone and you're like, oh my god, they're so hot? And I'm like, hot? What is hot?
Hot, yeah. Yeah.
I was like, and then like, anytime that anyone got in a relationship, I was like, why? Why would you want that?
Yeah. Good question. Yeah, for me it was like I would look at people like, oh, you're really attractive, but I don't want to like date you.
Yeah.
And then like if I knew someone really well, I'd be like, oh, I might want to date you maybe. So that was me.
I didn't even have that. Like I just didn't. I didn't have any of it, and until like 8th grade, and then I was becoming friends with someone, and he liked me, I guess, and so then it took him like 4 days. Okay, well no, he told me he liked me. Firstly, it was a really weird way because he was like, well, someone else likes you, so I'm upset. And I was like, why are you upset? And he's like, because I like you. And I was like, oh shit. It took me 4 days to be like, okay, I guess I like you too. I didn't.
I mean, you know, I have to give props for creativity. That is a way.
That is a way of
to
confessing.
tell someone, to confess.
It was through Instagram DM.
Oh. Sorry, I think I almost threw up. Yeah.
The visceral reaction. Ryan. But yeah, so I like never. I never really thought about it, and then I was in a relationship that I was not ready to be in and should not have been in.
Yeah.
And then by the time that was over, part one of it was over, I got back together with him. That was also a horrible, horrible thing. But by the time it was over, I was like, well, that was stupid. Like, why? Like, I didn't even... And it was just like a kind of like you hold hands and like you smooch like once kind of thing. Classic middle school. But yeah, and then I was in 9th grade and I was like very close with my friend Abby, and I was like, oh, I think that Abby's really pretty and I like Abby. And then I was just like, oh, that's a thing. And I was like, well, I've dated a guy, so obviously I like guys. Just because you date someone does not mean that you necessarily like them, and that's not a good way to go about things, but it's a way to go about things.
Your past does not dictate the present.
Exactly.
Believe it or not.
But yeah, so I really like didn't even think about my sexuality at all, but I just assumed I was like straight because I was raised in a Christian family, and yeah, we all know how that is. So it's just like, yeah, that's the only option. But I didn't even think about it because I didn't have any interest in like being with another person until I was more or less like coerced into it. But you know, And then I was like, yeah, I like this girl, so that means I'm not straight. I guess I'm bi. And then I was bi for 3 years.
3 years.
3 years. 3 years.
Impressive.
Yeah, 3 years. And then I started doubting the men.
Yeah.
Valid.
Yeah, valid. Very valid.
I think I'm just like really, 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 really demi. That I just like, I was like, yeah, I don't have to think about that. That's not affecting me.
That's entirely possible. Yeah.
Because I really didn't even think about. I didn't start questioning until I got really close to my friend Abby. But I didn't think about it like at all until I was in a relationship that I didn't want to be in. So. Did
you tell anyone that you were bi?
Well, I told my friend group that so we did have this one thing where like, so my friend introduced it for me, but it was basically like, we're talking about this one person that my friend had a crush on, and then my friend Kay was like, oh, well, Sunny has a crush on someone, and I was like, whoa, and Kay was like, but they're in a relationship. And so everyone was like going through, we have a really small class size, so everyone was going through the relationships in our grade, and they were like, wait, do you like Nick? And Kay was like, the other one, and it was
Wow.
It was really funny. At that point, one of the people in our friend group, okay, well, she was in a lesbian relationship, and then it steadily did not turn out, and it did not end lesbian because one of them transitioned, but it was also really unhealthy. So I was like, but yeah, so like Riley was the first person like who was out, and then it was me, and then after that it was another person, and after that it was another person, and then we all just suddenly like came out.
Eventually everyone ends up,
and we got our token straight. Shout out Leah. But we love Leah's boyfriend, so it's okay. Wait, funny tidbit for you.
Of course.
When I was like, oh, I'm not a lesbian anymore, does anyone want my flag? Riley was like, oh yeah, I don't think I'm bi anymore, I'll take it. And then my friend Brenna just goes swapping sexualities, like trading cards, and we're like, yeah.
Oh, I love that.
That was good.
Did you tell your parents or your family?
Did I? Oh, I told my mom. My mom was like, no, you just have bad experiences with men. And I was like, yeah, Mom. Okay.
Okay.
And then one of my friends came over, and like my dad was like, is there any romantic interest from him to you? And I was like, Dad, he's gay. And I'm gay. In the opposite direction. Now is a different story, but but it was really funny because I was like, yeah, I'm lesbian. And then when I started dating Aaron, I'd be like, just kidding.
Just kidding.
When I was 14, good fun little moment. My dad was like, like, you can bring home like as long as you bring home someone that's like nice and like whatever. It could be a boy, it could be a girl. I mean, like God doesn't like accept that, but I guess it'd be fun.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
But it was like, besides just like general non-acceptance, it was a relatively like safe like option.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't worried about like
them like kicking you out of the family. Yeah.
I haven't got there with the trans part
Yeah.
yet. But
yeah.
But the other stuff, I took so much pride in it, and it was also like my little way of like rebelling because I'm like the golden child or whatever because I'm the oldest and I got the best grades and I was the quote unquote only girl and so like expectations are really high and like I can't really do anything wrong in their eyes, so this I was like, take this, bitch.
Yeah, a world in which the bad thing you do is being gay. Yeah, I am in a similar situation in that like I haven't told my parents or my dad, and so I don't know if I ever will. Yeah, I don't know. It's not something that needs to come up, really, and like
it's like the people that are important to you can know.
Yeah, exactly.
If there are some people that don't need to know, they don't need to know.
But I was also the golden child.
Yeah.
Especially because I'm an only child. So, like, all of the burden was put on me. A lot of it by myself, granted.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I have to do
perfectionism.
well. I have to be perfect. I have to get good grades. I have to do this and that and do really well. And then one day I'm going to marry a woman and we're going to have kids.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm not sure that's going to happen.
Right.
It could.
It might.
It is a possibility.
It's
albeit a very small one.
Right.
Yeah. Especially the kids part.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not that interested in the children.
I will never physically have a child.
Yes.
Because no.
Adoption.
There are like trans men who are fine with having children. I am not one of them.
Yeah. They're also just women that are like, no.
There are women who are like, no, thank you. No. Because
I'm like,
that's 9 months of like torture.
Like, I'm like, you go, girl.
if that's something you want to do, like, props to you. Yeah. You're all the stronger for it. But I am out. Thank you.
Yeah. Take me out of the poll of people. I'm not going to be part of that.
But sometimes I'd be like, I'd like to like the opportunity to give someone like a better chance, like in a better life than I like. My life was pretty good. there are things that could be improved. I want to improve on all the things. And I just like...
I think that's a sentiment that I've kind of carried into like my like creative journey.
For sure.
In that like I want to, like I'm writing a book. And I'm like, I'm going to write a book and I'm going to make it something that I would have fucking loved to read when I was younger.
Yes.
And I wanted to have all the queer representation.
Hell yeah.
Because it fucking should be out there. And people should be able to read that.
Yeah.
And also the podcast is another avenue of this. It's like sharing it. Just sharing it to everyone. Like, thank you. Also, you're valid. Also, you're doing great.
Yeah.
My family was never really religious. But like definitely I know that my dad is transphobic.
Yeah.
But I don't know his thoughts like on just like sexuality being gay or queer.
Because usually that's more palatable to people and it like sucks.
Yeah.
But it's like if you can give them something.
Yeah. Because I often am like, what does my dad think?
Yeah.
Because like I've never dated anyone.
Right.
What is he thinking? Because like he has to have like some sort of like idea or at least like a question like, that boy is gay.
I wonder.
I guess how did growing up in like a Christian like household influence you? Did it like spur on the internalized homophobia real bad?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, like, the fact that I literally didn't know that gay people existed until I was, like, 12, 13.
If only I had known sooner.
Literally, like, I think you brought it up earlier, but, like, if I had started watching, like, the YouTube videos that a lot of people watched, I would have known so much sooner. But it's okay. But, yeah, it was... Like, it wasn't so much internalized once I got over that first, like, oh my god, people can be gay. We got over that, and then I was fine. But then it was, like, it was just, like, everything. It was, so not so much internal. I had, like, to get over a lot of, like, my misconceptions about, like, other people's sexualities and experiences. And, like, I'm still learning. To this day, thank TikTok for that, honestly.
Thank you, TikTok.
I'm like, thanks, guys. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
But there's still, like, external, like, Christian sourced homophobia. Oh, God. I was watching Pose this summer. Love Pose. love. My dad, however, was like, what are you watching? Yeah, and basically it was like, there was a sex scene on the screen, and he's like, pause it. And I was like, all right, like, mind you, what was it? It was Angel and like, well, it was one of the main characters. She's a trans woman, and it was like it was I think it was her first like sexual experience with this one guy that she's been seeing, because he's horrible. Whatever. Yeah. I want to say his name is Stanley. I could be making that up, but...
Flat Stanley.
It was an implied sex scene that she was giving him a blowjob. That's fine. That's fine for my dad. That's totally fine for my dad, because she presents very femininely and she passes. And, like, you can't tell just from looking at the screen that's what's happened. That's the situation. But my dad's picked up on the conversation from the scene before. That was, like, one guy asking another, hey, like... Are you straight or what? And he was like, well, like, yeah, but I mean, I've let a guy suck my dick once or twice for cash. And that was what my dad had an issue with. Like, just the mention. Like, whole sex scene going on screen. But he has a problem with the mention of gay sex. And I'm like, But basically he was like, yeah, I'm not going to allow you to have this on around your brothers, mind you, who are 18 and 15. The only reason I'm allowing it in my house is because out of respect for you. And I was like, yeah, that's so respectful. Like, forcing me to watch it, like, in my room, like, turn it off whenever my brothers are around because God forbid they hear someone talk about AIDS. Yeah. And, like, he was like, it's offensive to me. I was like,
how is it offensive?
It's like, how is it?
Yeah.
What? Yeah, so there's that. That was recent. But, like, otherwise it's just been like, well, that's not what God wants. And, like, oh, that was his thing. He was like, you're asking me to respect this, but, like, you need to respect my boundaries, too. Like, this is something that goes against my religion and my beliefs. And I'm like, okay, but you saying that, like, goes against my existence and my community's existence. So, like, are we on the same plane? I don't think so.
I don't think it's equal there.
Like, it doesn't, like... You are not oppressed, honey. You are in the United States of America as a Christian, cis-het, middle-aged. I meant to say middle class. That too.
Yeah, that too.
White man, you are doing just fine. No one is oppressing you for your religion. Like, you're good.
Cool, yeah.
Like, sorry that other people existing offends you, but, like... Sorry that the AIDS epidemic offends you also. Like,
yeah, literally,
do you just want to pretend it didn't happen? Because that's what they did, and look how far that got us.
Yeah, do you want to pretend like the Spanish flu didn't happen? You know,
like we can pretend like the common cold doesn't exist. Cold, like, what do you want?
What's...
Although, as someone who was like, COVID's not that big a deal, I mean, I don't know how valid that argument is. But, and then when I came out as non-binary to my mom, she was like, but God only made 2 genders. And I was like, oh, credit to someone on TikTok for this. But basically they were like, well, if God created like night and day, what about like sunset or dusk or dawn or all those fun things in between? And my mom was like, oh, okay, I can, okay. But yeah, I had to use like a biblical example to get rid of her like biblically sourced transphobia.
Interesting.
It was really... She still doesn't believe it, but like...
Yeah. I mean, it's like a tiny step forward, at least. That's the thing that I really hate about it, is that, like, I don't know... I don't have that much experience with it, because I was not raised religiously, but people that use religion or God as, like, an excuse to, like, produce hatred towards people. They're basically just like, God created everything.
Yeah.
But also, when you say you're gay, that was not God.
That was the devil. Like, okay, but then how did what?
But what? That doesn't make any sense. How the fuck did the devil influence me? I've never met that bitch.
Yeah.
I'd love to.
I wish I could.
I'd love to get a drink with him sometime. I'm sorry to hear that. That's not a fun situation to grow up in.
I feel like even if you don't grow up religious, though, it's so ingrained in our society that it's like, you can't escape it.
It's incredible how these people think that somehow they're the minority in, like, this world. It's like, how, in what world are you the minority where you literally went around to other countries and killed them if they didn't be Christian?
Like, that's normal.
So yeah, I can see that coming out was not exactly an easy thing when you did do it.
It was so funny. I was like, Mom, like, I'm gay. And she was like, no.
No.
She's like, no, you're not.
No, you're not.
I'm like, okay, fine.
Like, fucking gaslight me much. All right. Jesus.
Like, you're not straight.
It's like, I'm not?
Why are you married to a man?
What?
You shouldn't be married to a man as a woman. That's not right in the eyes of God.
Someone tells you something like, you're not this, like, what am I going to do with that information? Tell me. What am I going to be like, oh my God, you're so right. You know what, I'm sorry, my years of this experience have been wrong.
You obviously know my identity better than I do.
Yeah, I forget that you are my brain. I forget that most of the time.
And you are the all-knowing being of me. Thanks.
Yeah.
Didn't need that information.
Were there any, like, memories or stories, like, that you can think of that, like, maybe looking back on them now could have been a sign of something?
I mean, still, my favorite personally is the one in first grade when I was like, I'm gonna marry a woman. I think it was just like my obsession with like once I was like, oh, I'm bi, I was like consuming every bit of queer media that I possibly could. And like, anytime I saw like a gay couple out in public, I was like, oh, you're like me. Wait, but don't think I'm homophobic for staring at you. I'm just staring at you because I love you.
I've had moments where I just like I know I'm staring at this just like very like presented
Yes.
in a very like outward way queer. And I'm just like, wow.
Yeah.
So inspirational. I love you. You go. You do it. And then like they probably look at me and go like, why the fuck is that straight man staring at me?
No. I know. I'm just like I'm like you.
I'm like
I'm
you.
like you. Please.
I know I don't always look like it, but I am.
Yeah. That's so frustrating.
I guess another question I have is not even just like Christianity, but like in like everyday society, people always expect you, and I know you already kind of talked about this to some degree, but people always expect you to like be in a relationship. Like that is life's goal, to do that and then have children.
Yeah.
But like, did you ever feel like you had to be in a relationship, or like did you actually want to be in a relationship but had difficulty like getting to that point, or like finding those feelings?
So I think this comes back to my little demisexuality, demi-romanticism deal, because when I tell you that the first time I've ever wanted a relationship was last year, the first time I've ever wanted a relationship was last year. I felt like I should be in one. Like when I was, especially like when I got into the 8th grade like relationship, I was like, this is like what everyone else is doing, so it's obviously what I'm supposed to be doing, right? I did not like this kid. Took me 4 days to be like, okay, I guess. And it sucked. And then we broke up. And then I was like, now I feel like I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Yeah. And so I got back together with him. And it was horrible. And then I broke up with him. And then 2 months later, I got with my best friend. His move, not mine. That was another deal of like, oh, I like you. And I was like, oh yeah, we're pretty close. I guess that's what this is.
That's what that means, right?
Yeah.
Right?
No, it's not. We dated for 5 weeks, and then he was like, "This is weird because you were my best friend." I was like, "Yeah, it is weird, isn't it?" So we broke up.
Was he the one that started that conversation?
Yes. Like that, I was kind of like, "Damn!" Like that was me getting platonic feelings mixed up with romantic feelings, but in the sense of. Like, I used to be like, oh, I can't distinguish them until I actually felt them. And I was like, wait, no, I just never experienced it. It was literally just platonic. But then after that relationship, that was pretty hard because he was my best friend. And, like, we were very close. And, like, he was the main person that I talked to, like, at school and stuff. So I, like, mistook that for, like, sad about our relationship being over. But then I was like, wait, like, did I actually even like being in a relationship with him that much? Or did I just like hanging out with him because we were friends? Yeah. It was that. And then like after that, that was my junior year of high school. I'm now in my sophomore year of college. I started dating someone my freshman year of college. So that was I think it was almost 3 years. And those 2 years, I was like, hell yeah. I don't need a relationship. What the fuck? Why did I do that? I don't even want a relationship. So yeah, I was totally vibing because at that point I was like, damn, I really felt like I needed to be in one, and like that I needed to reciprocate people's feelings just to like validate the feelings of these petty ass men. Ugh. I'm like, why did I do that? I'm like, I didn't want that. And then I was vibing for those 2 years because I was like, I literally could do anything else. Yeah. And then I met a person where I was like, oh, this actually want to be in a relationship.
Yeah, this is like actually real.
Like it's not like societal pressure, and it's not you pressuring me. Oh my god, that's what it's supposed to.
This is what a healthy thing is supposed to be.
What took 5-6 years took that long for me to figure it out.
You know
but you know what?
Good for you.
Good for me. Character development. I don't know.
You got there.
But the pressure is real, and I was so happy when I was not in a relationship, like after the shitty ones. And I was just like, yeah, like I can do so many things now. I don't have to like text someone like, oh, I'm going to do this, and like being here. And like that's like what my understanding of a relationship was just like being tied to the other person. And it was like, that sucks. Yeah. And then I had 2 years, and I was like, oh my god, I can be whatever I want it to be, but I don't want it now, so that's fine. Yeah. And then now I'm happy in the relationship that I'm in because I've had that time to be able to be like, I only need to be in one if I want to be in one. Like, not because other people want me to. So, yeah.
I know you had your friend group that like slowly became queer over time. Well, became queer. Yeah. But like, so what was going to college like? Did that like kind of How like easy and or difficult was that? Like finding a new community, finding new people. What was that like?
Oh, I was so sad. All my friends were straight. I was like, where are all the queer people? I swear, my roommate stole all the queer people. They had like a giant ass friend group with a bunch of queer people. It didn't last, but like still, I was like, oh my god, you know all these queer people. Where the hell did you find them?
Where
all?
did you find? Where
Like,
Where have you been hiding them?
I'm stuck on third floor Crabtree. Where are all the gays? Oh no, all my friends were straight.
I'm
And
so sorry.
thank you. Mind you, I'm only friends with like one of them now. The other one I'm dating. So those are the two surviving members. This year, I've made so many more queer friends. And like, I feel like going into theater, I'd find so many gay people, and then I took 140, and I was like, why is everyone straight?
Because it's a beginner level, and they're just there for credits.
Although there was, oh, bless her name was Lily. We did a scene together, and it was a lesbian scene, and I was playing a non-binary lesbian.
Oh my god, incredible.
Oh my god, it was great. And it was like such a cute little scene. Like it was just like their first date basically. But I was like, oh my god, like queer people exist. And they're on UMass. They're on UMass and we found them. And like I steadily started meeting more people. And I feel like now that I'm like further immersed into the department, I'm like,
this is
that's
where
where you've
they've
all
been.
fucking been hiding. God damn. So yeah, I'm very happy. And also my roommate last year was trans and I was trans, and so we were both just like fist bump.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so good. I saw them on Instagram because they like posted on the like up and coming like class 2025 or whatever, and I was like, do you want to be roommates? And they were like, hell yeah.
Awesome.
It's the first queer person I found.
So is your interest mainly theater? Did you know that going into this?
Ooh, I've changed my major like 5 times, Ryan.
Incredible.
Oh yeah. I came in as like a poli-sci major.
Interesting. You know, I would not have guessed that.
No, and then I was a Japanese major, and then I was HFA undecided, and then I was linguistics, and then I was comp lit, and then I was comp lit with a minor in theater, and then I dropped the Japanese major to a minor. So we got a Japanese minor, and then I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna major in comp lit because that's the only thing on this like list that doesn't suck, except for theater. But I'm totally not allowed to do that. Like you can't major in theater.
You can't.
What?
Yeah, you can't major in theater. That's
I was
silly.
like, well, I can minor in theater, and so I added the minor, and I was majoring in comp lit, and then I took one comp lit class, and I was like, fuck this, and I changed it to an English major. And then I was like, wait, actually, I really like theater. I'm bringing it up to a major. And then I'm like, wait, I like theater more. I'm switching it to my primary major. And so now I'm considering dropping the English major into a minor because it sucks, and I would really rather just be doing theater.
Do what makes you happy.
But like, theater. So like, I love theater so much. It's always been something that I've loved, and then I forget that I love it like every 2 seconds. And I'm also told that I can't love it like every 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Like, that's not a viable option.
Yeah.
It took me so long to get back into it. I didn't really do it in high school either. I didn't have much of an opportunity because our high school was so small and our theater department was, well, non-existent.
Yeah.
We didn't have a stage or like a place to perform. It was in the cafeteria / like it was the multi-purpose room.
I see.
That kind of one of those kind of deals.
Yeah.
So like the first year when they were doing a production was during soccer season. I played soccer. My parents were like, "You need to do a sport," and I was like, "Okay."
I hate when people tell you that. It's like, but
I
I
did it
don't
for
want
12
to do
years.
sport. Yeah.
For 12
It's like, I don't like sports. I don't want to do them.
Oh, no. But yeah, so that one stopped me from doing it. My freshman year, my sophomore year, same thing. It was during the soccer season. My junior year, my friend died around like Christmas time. And I was like, and that was when they were actually doing like a winter show. And I was like, well, I don't feel like doing this.
Yeah.
No thanks. And then COVID happened and we did a radio play, which I did do. But that was like my only theater experience. And so, like, I never really got the chance to see, like, how much I liked it. I took classes. We had a playwriting class. Bless that class. I loved that so much. But then I got here, and Aaron's a theater kid, obviously.
Yes.
And so he was like, well, if you, like theater that much, just take a class.
Take a class,
I was
yeah.
like,
That's
fuck.
what I did.
I was like, fine. Like, I will.
Yeah,
Okay.
I just took a class. I was like,
What class was your first theater class?
Mine was the intro level for acting.
Okay, yeah.
I don't remember what it was.
140.
Probably, yeah. And I was like, I forgot that I like theater because my theater department in high school sucked.
Yeah.
But like I like doing it.
Yep. I took 140 and 130 in the same semester, which is Contemporary Playwrights of Color.
Mm-hmm.
That was the class that made me like bring the minor up to a major because I was like, God damn, I love this shit. And like performance is not like I feel like my strong suit necessarily. I don't know what is my strong suit. I just kind of like yeah, I think in my acting class this semester I was like, they were like, what do you want out of this class? And I was like, well, I'm basically at like base level stats for everything right now, and I just want to raise some of them up a little.
Well, I feel like the thing is like if you want to like be in theater and like do theater stuff, it's good to have like that base level stats for everything.
Yeah.
Because like chances are you're gonna be like part of it in some way somehow in the future.
It's the jack of all trades but master of none, better than a master of one. And I'm like, yeah. But yeah, so now I'm like, God damn, I want to do theater. That's like all I want to do. That's all I've ever wanted to do. I don't know what I want to do with it, but it's like I literally can't see myself doing anything else.
That's good. That's good though.
Yeah.
That you know what like you are interested in.
Yeah.
Because some people don't even know that, and they're like, I don't know.
I mean, like I might not have a specific job in mind, but I'm just like I want to be creatively involved, and then everyone's like, it's not a financially stable option, and I'm like, is anything these days?
Yeah, is anything these days? Because everyone says that about anything, like any job that is creative in nature. It's like it's not financially stable. I'm like, okay.
Does it?
Most jobs aren't, honestly.
Yeah, like.
And also, when people say financially stable, most of the time they mean like wealthy. Yeah. Or at least like upper middle class. It's like that's.
My dad's like, you gotta be making at least like $100,000 a year. I was like, bitch, where? Like, what?
No, like, I'm like, that's not very realistic.
I think he said 75,000, but I was like, out of college, you're not getting that. Okay, he wants me to do sales. I'm like, that's not gonna go over well. No. I hate people.
Same. So aside from theater, do you have any other interests or anything that like you really like to do?
Oh, I like piano.
Piano?
Yeah, it's fun. I play piano.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not great, but I play it and it's fun.
That's really cool.
I'm just very like creatively motivated. I like writing. I like to play piano. I like painting. I picked up painting recently, and I'm just like, yeah, this is great. My masterpiece is like a 4 foot by 4 foot like masonite board that I did at a summer camp that's lost in my fucking high school right now. No. I'm gonna go and search it this week. Like, I kid you not. I'm gonna call up my theater teacher and be like, can you let me in? Because I'm gonna search this place for this goddamn 4 by 4 foot painting.
Yeah, I'm very glad that like I've found so many creative like minded people, because like they're the best people. Yeah. Let's be honest. Because other people, they're just boring.
They are so boring. Like, get a life. Like, why are you doing math?
Yeah, because then you talk to them and you're like even if you talk to like a creative person who doesn't like video games and like you rant to them about like a video game you really like, they're like, that's really cool. Yeah. And like they understand because like it's an art form. And then
also, I know there are some math people that do creative stuff too. I just really hate math. Sorry.
Hey, if you like math, fuck you. But I think we're getting pretty close to the end. So, as is the case with every episode, is there something that you would like to say to the audience, or any questions you have, questions for me, advice for anyone, anything at all?
Anything at all.
Anything at all.
Do your research. Do your research. That's
please,
all.
Please.
And if you feel like it, share your research with your friends. Maybe they're questioning and don't know it yet. Either you don't know it yet, or they don't know it yet.
And it might help someone.
It might help someone. It might help me. Who knows? But also, like, I don't know. I feel like I've gotten a lot of joy just from being able to like openly explore like my identity with people that are also like, hell yeah, explore your identity, or also exploring their identities.
Definitely.
So like, find some people you can talk to about it if possible, online, in person, wherever you are.
Yeah. Because like even if it's something
to Ryan on the podcast,
to me, come to me.
the King voice.
The King voice comes out.
I feel like I especially have gotten so much from just listening to other people talk about like their experience and their identities, and like I've just had my horizons broadened so much, and like it needs to happen because I don't know, I feel like everyone's so quick to jump to conclusions and judge like all the time. It's like, what if we just didn't do that? Oh, also to the listeners, if you ever come across a rainbow leash, just see what dogs will go up to it. It'll tell you if they're queer or not. As a person who has done this with a multiple amount of dogs, I can lend you my rainbow leash.
Well, thank you. To end on that wonderful note. Thank you, Sunny, so much for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Me.
I'm so glad you came here, even though it's like kind of late and you're tired.
Oh, dude, you gotta drive an hour and a half back, anyways.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming here, Ryan. You know what? Thank you. Thanks for joining me in my office. It's actually Senna's, but that's fine.
Well, thank you, listeners, for listening. Thank you once again.
Thank you.
I will see you in the next episode, whatever that may be. Goodbye.
Bye. Lesbians are an ever-expansive group of beings, and I fucking love them.
I don't think there's an animal that I dislike.
How are you on bugs?
I don't like bugs, but they're not animals. What? I'm joking. I like bugs, but when they're not like in my bedroom.
Okay, valid. And I went to church growing up too. And it was always just like man, woman. My backpack says queer as fuck.
It's true. It does say that.
He,
I
they.
can confirm.
There's a rainbow pin. There's a love is love pin. There's a trans-coded flag of clouds pin. There's the they, them, theirs that doesn't apply anymore. There's a whole fucking penguin. If that doesn't say queer, I don't know what that.
I'm glad we have little gestures now, like the hand thing and, you know, just a bunch of little things. Be like, are you queer?